Hello there, you awakening wonders. Thanks for joining me to Stay Free today with Russell Brand. If you believe in... Get over here. Where's the checks? Where's the checks and balances? Right, fight the power. Let's get on with this shit. We're fighting for democracy. We got no time to mess about or play. Wherever you're watching this, you might be watching it, I don't know, on YouTube. You might be watching it on X. You might be watching a whole host of places, but make your way to Rumble. And if you haven't got Rumble Premium yet, get Rumble Premium now. And tell them, oh, Russ sent ya. That's right, oh, Russ. That's the name I'm operating under now. I'm a simple Floridian guy living life to the full because this is still the greatest country on earth. And while my homeland, the United Kingdom, is suffering and toiling under multiple protests, whether you're on the left and fighting for the rights of Palestinians or you're on the right and you're fighting for the rights of British people and you're anti-migration, there is something for you to get out on the streets and protest about. Thank you, Tim Pool, for the raid. If you're joining us from Timcast for the first time, you're going to love this show. We're talking about RFK. Secretary Kennedy was in front of a Senate Finance Committee yesterday, and it was one of those glorious moments where we got to see the true nature of the political war we're in. If you're Christian like me, you'll know that in Ephesians it says we fight not against flesh but against dark power and spiritual principalities. The holy war is upon us across the world, and you, my friend, are on the front line. If you believe in free speech, you've got to support us because we are fighting not for our right to party, although it'd be nice to party once in a while, simply for our right to speak openly. Let's get straight into this RFK story. Get over on the Rumble if you're watching us anywhere else. You know that YouTube's part of a global conspiracy to control you, don't you? You know that, don't you? You know that the information they give you access to is information that biases you and controls you. If they let you watch it, it's because they want you to watch it. They want you divided, Muslim against Jew, Christian against atheist, and we ain't playing no more. This is it. If it's a holy war you want, it's a holy war you've got. Now, remember that if you want to be like me, fit, fine abdominals, you're going to have to take some serious supplements, and I'll be telling you about those a little bit later. I would like to personally thank Secretary Kennedy for making me a stronger and fitter man. I've taken his pull-up and push-up challenge, and I must say I ejaculated twice in the first 15 minutes. Now, his own Kennedy, his own family, the Kennedy family, have said he's a threat to the well-being of every American. Let me know in the comments and chat if you believe the Kennedy family have been bought out, baby, by the very kind of interests that oppose RFK. Can you think of a time in recent history where such a peripheral marginal figure has been brought into the center of political institutions? You might argue Trump, but Trump is so divisive. Trump and his populist army may present a bulwark and stumbling block against advancing global imperialism, against the kind of dark occultist forces that I believe that we have to be armed against. We must wear the armor. We must put on the armor. The only place you can oppose them is in the present. That's the only place you're going to find God right now. But what I would say about Bobby Kennedy is he has the potential to unify people from across the traditional left and the traditional right, because who among us don't want our children to be healthy and well? Who among us believe that big food have our nutritional interests at heart? Who among us believe, after the opioid crisis, after the COVID pandemic, that we can trust Pfizer? Who among us didn't believe and strongly demand that RFK get into the HHS and have an overhaul? The CDC needed its leadership radically reevaluated and changed. Let me know if you agree with that in the comments and the chat. Here is Secretary Kennedy. He's talking about myocarditis and pericarditis in teens. One of those unarguable, indefatigable, unignorable facts of the matter. Those vaccines caused pericarditis and myocarditis. They didn't tell you that at the time. They released survey after survey, study after study, saying that if you took that vaccine, especially they released one study saying teenagers, it was 100% effective in inoculating. What a claim. What a claim to make about a teenager. There's so many jokes I'm not doing right now due to my own legal challenges. Now let's get into this.
You can characterize it any way you want. I quoted them today. What I said was accurate. What you said were lies. You described
I'm accurate. You're a liar. Your pants are on fire. I'm filled with desire. I'm a great guy. You're a son of a bitch. I'm good old Mr. Bennett. I'm a straight-laced, reliable fella.
You saying, Senator,
moving the Titanic.
Senator, are you saying that the mRNA vaccine has never been associated with myocarditis or pericarditis in teenagers?
I am simply.
Is that what you're trying to tell us?
I am simply trying to say that the people that you have put on that panel, after firing the entire.
You're evading the question.
Is evading the question, isn't it? That's old school politics right there. You're watching it. We recognize that stuff now. Look, listen, I'm not saying that. What? Wait a minute. A bird. A purple bird. Over there. Look at it. If you don't look at that bird right now, I'm telling you, it is going to shit on your shoulder, which is good luck, but not necessarily in a Senate hearing.
You're evading the question.
No, I'm asking the questions here,
You're
Mr.
evading
Kennedy.
that question.
I'm asking the questions,
I
Mr.
asked
Kennedy.
you a question.
I'm asking the questions for Mr. Kennedy on behalf of parents.
There are just human beings in the end as well, aren't they? You know, people are like, I'm asking the question. No, I'm asking you a question. No, I'm evading. Did I say evading? I'm not saying invading. Listen, just shut up. Look at me. I've got my name tag here.
Of parents and schools and teachers all over the United States of America who deserve so much better.
I don't think that guy believes that. You know, children and butterflies and little boys and Pinocchio. He tried to go to school and that cat and that fox distracted him, but then Jiminy Cricket, he got in his head, didn't he? And put him in the right direction, but then he ended up in the circle. Hey, man, you can't trust Pinocchio. You got to watch out if you want to be a real boy. Why aren't people focused? I believe in none of these people. I don't trust them.
So much better than your leadership. That's what this conversation is about, Mr. Chairman.
Look at that. Listen, Mr. Bennett, it's your childhood imaginary friend, little Roger Bennett. Now, you're coming across like a liar, Mr. Bennett. You're coming across like a liar. Your face is going red.
Mr. Chairman.
Senator, they deserve the truth, and that's what we're going to give them for the first time in the history of that agency.
Come off the mic, Bobby. You're too close to the mic. You're blowing out the mic a little bit. But the important thing is, for the first time, we're getting to see someone with authority. Crowder, thank you for the raid, baby. If you're joining us from Mug Club for the first time, we're covering the Senate Finance Committee and Bobby Kennedy getting there front and center. You know that the United States of America is divided now like it's never been divided. Some people reify, deify, adore Trump like he is a risen king. Others loathe him with such black spittled inky-toothed disdain that it's made them hysterical and ridiculous. Bobby Kennedy could be the figure that brings your nation together. Furthermore, he is a person that's willing to go head-to-head against the very interests that have brought America low, that have made America obese, that have made America sick. This is a significant hearing. This is a significant moment. This is your opportunity to show support for a political figure that's willing to get out there in front of it, risk his life, reputation, and so much more to protect the health of American people. And if you ain't got healthy American people, what have you got? Rampant Chinese imperialism and a potentially near-peer multipolar threat. We'll be covering that a little later in the show. Don't you dare go anywhere, because we're going to be looking at that hot mic moment between Putin and Xi that seems to suggest that they want nothing short of immortality and world domination. Stay with us for that. Oh, cut the wankers. Get on with it. This is, okay, so this is RFK on the CDC allowing the teachers union to write the order closing our school. Let's have a look at this.
The CDC allowed the teachers union to write the order closing our schools, which hurt working people all over the country, and then pretend it was science-based.
There's some science. Teachers are lazy. No, that's that's amazing, isn't it? Do you remember the number of times during the pandemic period? It's a era that's forever scorched into my mind because so much happened then. I remember when we learned that the 6 feet social distancing was arbitrary. I remember when we learned that the mask was arbitrary. I remember when the then head of the CDC said that the closing down sports events was arbitrary. It's difficult for me, looking back at that period, not to conclude that what it was a mass global psyop to see just how far people people could be pushed into compliance. Remember, at that time, Secretary Kennedy was a marginal figure. He was, in fact, regarded with some disdain by the political mainstream. I would say one of Trump's greatest achievements is giving a position to Secretary Kennedy. Let me know in the comments and chat if you agree with that. And now Secretary Kennedy is going to work, doing what he was employed to do, some would argue born to do, standing up against big pharma, big food, big agriculture, and the puppets in the Senate and Congress that do their bidding for dollar. And those kind of confrontations come to the forefront. And it's surprising to see the kind of political leaders that have got blood on their hands and dirty money around their lips. I don't know where I got that image from, but like when you figures like Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders, the reliable stalwarts of the left, they seem to be among the most corrupt and most corrupted. Let me know what you think about that in the comments and chat.
Enacting an agenda that I think is fundamentally cruel and defies common sense. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Do I get a reply? Or Senator, you've sat in that chair for how long? 20, 25 years, while the chronic disease in our children went up to 76%. And you said nothing. You never asked the question why it's happening. Why is this happening? Today, for the first
That guy, Mr. Wyden, he shouldn't be involved in anything to do with anyone's health. I've never seen anyone more sickly. He looks like he's been in a dungeon under Hogwarts for about a century. I'm here to help with children's health. Whether it's weakness, paleness, or fragility, I've got it all. If my face is this wrinkly, can you even imagine my scrotum?
Today, for the first time in 20 years,
Can't even keep his own hand straight. Wait a second. I can't answer that question. My last heartbeat is going into erecting my wrist. You can do it, Wyden. There, done it. Got the wrist straight. And now it's time to squeeze out some gray jism to celebrate Pfizer.
in 20 years, we learned that infant mortality has increased in our country. It's not because I came in here. It's because of what happened during the Biden administration that we're going to end.
I'm going to let Senator Wyden respond briefly to.
I can only respond briefly. I'm very, very weak indeed. My bones are turning to dust inside of my body.
Respond briefly to that, and then we're not going to go over like we just did.
Defend this committee on a bipartisan basis.
How dare you? I'm trying my hardest. I'm Ron Wyden. Let's talk now about the unavoidable and the politicization of COVID was the real story of that era. Had we genuinely been facing a viral threat, then truly it would have been an issue that affected us all, where we would have all had to play our part to protect the most vulnerable. And whatever medical interventions were proven to be successful, I'm sure all sane people would have welcomed and utilised. But what we learned over the course of the pandemic is that it was a window into the way that power operates. Deep-seated institutional powers, whether they are national or global, whether that's the WHO or the kind of departments in the American health industry and governmental health that Secretary Kennedy is now confronting, aligned and came together to grant opportunity to big pharma. Big tech benefited. It was used as an opportunity to escalate surveillance, to spy on people, to censor people, to legitimize censoring people. In some cases, I believe people were smeared as a result of their participation in conveying true information during that period, naming no names. I believe it was an opportunity to test just how many people could be controlled, manipulated, and deeply maneuvered according to the will of global imperialism. I don't think there's ever been an event like it, and this is still the fallout of that event. Look how easily we've forgotten and cast aside the idea that there were internment camps in Australia and Canada, that people were invited, actually mandated in some instances, to take an experimental medication that weren't even effective at doing the very thing that it claimed to do, that they put our children at risk, that they ruin people's livelihoods. And when I say they, I mean the set of interests elites that are able to evade the movements of any democratic institution. Those are the powers that are being confronted now. And all of us have an obligation to support Secretary Kennedy. And I would say this is a kind of litmus test to which side you're on. The people that come out and attack Secretary Kennedy now, you know what side of the line they're on. There is no left and right anymore. There's only right and wrong. And this is an opportunity for you to participate in the escalation of this crusade of righteousness. Indeed, we are in a holy war. What did you think your life was going to be for? Pleasure, distraction, drab, glib inaction, sat on some couch somewhere consuming the very kind of foods that are poisoning you so that you then have to take the very kind of drugs that sustain your pointless life while you stare dimly at an empty sheen on a dumb screen, consuming information that makes you ignorant? Or do you want the holy light of the Lord to enter your life right now? This is a possibility. This is an opportunity. Don't waste it. Support Secretary Kennedy while you can.
Respond briefly to that, and then we're not going to go over like we just did.
Defend this committee on a bipartisan basis.
Excuse me, wrong button.
Do you believe COVID-19 was politicized?
Yeah, the whole process was politicized. Senator, I mean, we were lied to about everything. We were lied to about natural immunity. We were lied to about, we were told again and again the vaccines would prevent transmission, they prevent infection. It wasn't true. They knew it from the start it wasn't true because that's what the animal studies and the clinical trials showed. We were told that there was science behind cloth masks. The CDC allowed the teachers union to write the order closing our schools, which hurt working people all over the country, and then pretend it was science-based. All of these issues, and then I can show you, like, for example, Chairman Wyden was talking about me politicizing ASIP. But during COVID, probably the most famous scientist on ASIP was Martin Kulldorff from Harvard, the great, world-renowned epidemiologist and vaccinologist. And he criticized the COVID booster mandates. They ejected him from COVID because he wasn't in the orthodoxy. The two biggest health officials at FDA during COVID, Dr. Gruber and Dr. Krause, criticized the Biden mandates, vaccine mandates. President Biden said in August.
Fog666 in the Rumble chat says the girl on the left is hot. That is Kick Kennedy, Secretary Kennedy's daughter. I'm simply reading that out because I reckon she'd enjoy being referred to as hot in that way. I don't know. Maybe I've misunderstood people. I mean, I like it when you guys beg to see my nips, you saucy devils.
President Biden said in August, I would never take that vaccine, the Trump vaccine. And he came in, he mandated it, and then he fired the two top health officials at FDA who said, hey, this thing has not been properly tested. So the whole process was politicized, and even today.
Whoa! This is a brilliant moment because it gives us the opportunity to examine this. Remember, those of you that are long-time supporters of President Trump and participants in the MAGA movement have long been condemned by the liberal left as racists and maniacs. I live in the South now, as you can see. And so I know that many of these people that are criticised and condemned are simply politically and spiritually conservative. There's nothing wrong with that. They are independent thinking people, folks that like to fish and shoot and hunt and praise the Lord and live heterosexual married lives. That ain't the only way to live a life. There are millions of ways of being a human being. But what we cannot abide, what we can't stand for, any of us, is the politicization of cultural condemnation of any group. And what the crazy, wacky Democrats of the last 20 years have tried to do is marginalize a native majority. They tried to condemn ordinary Americans to such an outrageous degree that they created and generated populism. You know the kind of arguments that have brought this to the forefront, whether it's issues around sexual identity, in particular the trans cultural arguments. But I would say on this show and in our movement that we are humble participants in, we must focus on the spiritual component and how institutions of government and commercial power lie to us to such a degree that we're all here in bewilderment and disarray, arguing with one another about issues and ideas that separate us instead of focusing on the points of alignment. The reason that Kennedy is such such a significant politician is that he's talking about health, wellness, fitness, and the opponents to health, wellness, and fitness are not like mad, crazy racists in Alabama. It's Pfizer, it's big food, it's the very kind of powers that are able to sway an entire Congress, an entire Senate, an entire nation. We know that now. This is an opportunity, a rare opportunity, to support someone in a position of political power who's willing to go to bat and to the mat for the American people. That's just what I think, though. Let me know what you think in the comments and chat about that. Now, what's interesting for those people, those huge demographics, those huge swathes of the population that see Trump as the bringer of Armageddon, is to see two significant political figures of the left, Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders, stand up really here to an outrageous degree for the interests of Big Pharma, for the interests of big food. Indeed, who is Elizabeth Warren benefiting here? Is she campaigning here for, like, she seems to be posturing as a woman who's like, what are we going to do about those people who want vaccines and just won't be able to get them? What will you do? People are clamoring after a vaccine and are unable. If you want vaccines, you're going to be able to get vaccines. There are people impoverished and desperate that manage to get their hands on fentanyl, heroin, crack, meth, because that's what it's like to be a drug addict. If you need a COVID-19 vaccine so bad that you're willing to overlook myocarditis and pericarditis, baby, I bet you can get one. Here is RFK versus Elizabeth Warren. Let me know in the comments and chat who you think comes off best in this spat.
You are effectively denying people vaccines.
We're not going to recommend a product for which there's no clinical data for that indication. Is that what I should be doing?
What you should be doing is honoring your promise that you made when you were looking to get confirmed in this.
You did a promise. Now, notice she did this gesture. Did anyone else? Let me know in the comments and chat if you saw her do this. That was an unconscious gesture. The reason she's rubbing her fingers together in the smallest violin in the world, playing for the waitresses, Steve Buscemi, Reservoir Dogs, is because she's been paid. She's been paid. Check it out. Is it publicly available? Check out someone like that Wales geezer, Unusual Wales, on X right now. Look how much money Elizabeth Warren has taken from Big Pharma. Look at how the strings of Big Pharma are attached to the marionette fingers of Elizabeth Warren. Let me know if you think she did that consciously or unconsciously.
Confirmed in this job.
You're going like this.
And that is, you promised that you would not take away vaccines from anyone who wanted them. You just changed the classification of the COVID vaccine.
I'm not taking them away from people, Senator.
It takes it away if you can't get it from your pharmacist.
Well,
You can't get it from your pharmacy. What would you do? I mean, have you been out there lately on the streets of London or the streets of Birmingham, Alabama, or any town, USA? All I can see is people going, where do I get my COVID shots? Banging on the windows. This morning, I was woken up by an angry mob. Where's our COVID shots? Have you got any COVID shots in there? No one ever mentions their benefits. Nobody ever tried to push them upon us. Nobody ever closed down schools and hospitals. She's acting like the problem in the United States of America. Who among us, who right now watching this, real people like you, are like, oh man, where am I going to get a COVID shot from? If you want one, like people, like all you have to do is like say Beetlejuice, and so Albert Bourla, CEO of Pfizer, he'll be round your door. He'll inject you directly from his own penis with a Pfizer shot. Those people were trying to get that stuff in your arm like nothing I've ever seen before in my life. It's advertised more aggressively than the opinions of Taylor Swift. If you want a COVID-19 shot, you're going to get one. Who is Elizabeth Warren protecting you from? Let me know in the comments and chat.
From your pharmacist.
Well, most Americans are going to be able to get it from their pharmacy for free. Most Americans will be able to get it from their pharmacy for free.
The question is, everyone who wants it, that was your promise.
No, I didn't. I never promised that I was going to recommend products with which there is no indication.
When you said...
And I know you've taken $855,000 from pharmaceutical companies, Senator.
Did you hold...
How dare you say that I've taken $855,000 from pharmaceutical? I don't even know why I did that gesture. I never take I'm trying my hardest. You made you speak in an unusual voice. What about that? Huh? Who's the winner now, you bastard?
Hold up a big sign saying that you were lying when you said that, because you are the one who said you would not take them away. Now, Senator Kennedy.
I'm not taking them away from anybody.
Secretary,
You want me to indicate a product for which there is no clinical data?
Senator,
is that what you want?
Secretary Kennedy, you said you wouldn't, and now you did.
I'm not taking them away.
Obviously-
Everybody can get access to them.
Bernie Sanders just thinking, and there's that onesie. Let's never forget the onesie that you endorse this onesie. Soon it'll be my turn. Bernie's turn. Bernie's gonna get to the forefront. Bernie's gonna confront you about that onesie. It buttons up the front with those little poppers. I'd like to snuggle up in one of those onesies right now that you endorse this onesie. Here is Bernie Sanders. No doubt, just inchoate with inquiry about more important matters, such as Hello, Hunter!
Every single Republican, I don't mean to be political here, Mr. Chairman, has.
I don't mean to be political here in the Senate. Yes, it's not a political. Wait a minute. I'm a politician in a political situation. Why am I not talking about onesies?
Has received PAC money from the pharmaceutical industry. Are they all corrupt as well?
Just because we take a couple of dollar bills from the pharmaceutical companies, does that make us bad guys? Not like this motherfucker selling baby onesies on that website. The real issue is onesies. The real issue is onesies, which nobody can deny.
Corrupt as well?
And I'm telling you, the American Heart Association has been co-opted by the food
Everybody
industry.
but you, Senator. But you know what? When you ran for president, we have a corrupt campaign finance system. Maybe you will agree with me on that. Okay, you were already president. You had $1.5 billion behind it. You received $300,000 from people, not from the industry, people in it, as I did, from individuals. You corrupt. President Trump got $3 million. Every Republican got corporate PAC money for the pharmaceutical industry. Democrats as well. Everybody is corrupt, but you? Is that?
What about that? I've won this round, haven't I? And if I need to go someplace on a private jet, what the hell is wrong with that? My name is Bernie, and what I do is just fine with me. But when somebody genuinely confronts dark power, I'll have an argument within the hour. It's onesies. Onesies. Would you denounce that onesie? You're sitting there in your Senate chair, but you've probably wearing a onesie underneath there. You wear your thin ties. You're one of the guys. You're doing pull-ups and push-ups. But we know the truth. It's under the roof. You're wearing onesies downstairs. You may be a member of the famous family. Oh, the Kennedys. You may be part of a new Camelot. But I'll tell you what I care about a lot. It's onesies. Onesies. You're wearing onesies down there. I may take money from Moderna and Pfizer, but you motherfucker are a dirty liar, cause you're wearing onesies downstairs. You're wearing onesies downstairs. I'm here all week. And you'll never catch me wearing a onesie. I travel by private jet.
Is that what we're looking at? I don't think so. And I think the issue now...
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Well, I think you do know what I'm talking about.
I don't know what you're talking about.
The issue is every time anyone disagrees with you...
Are you saying the pharmaceutical industry was supporting my presidential campaign?
No, I'm saying...
I don't think so.
I'm not saying that.
Okay. Now, who can we rely on to give us some commentary on a situation like this? Well, Bill Maher. I've been on Bill Maher shows many times. I've been on his podcast. I've been on that show he does at night time where people sit around a round table and take themselves real seriously. Now, here is Bill Maher. It sounds to me, I've not seen this clip yet, but he's attacking Secretary Kennedy. Let me know what you think in the comments and chat. Remember, if you're not watching this on Rumble, get on over to Rumble and get Rumble Premium to get more access to our incredible content and an ad-free experience where you'll get Mug Club and Timcast and Ruben's Gear. You don't call his show Ruben's Gear, that's just what I'm calling it. My hand is cramping up from gripping this microphone and from gripping the money from Big Pharma. Onesie. Let's have a look. at Bill Maher.
I personally find this very disappointing because I am the person who was sympathetic to what he was trying to do. A lot of people like me who didn't think that the orthodox way of Western medicine was, not that we're against Western medicine or vaccines, I'm certainly not, but just like there's another way to look at it, and a lot of stuff they were doing wasn't the right way. There was much too much about pills and surgery and not enough about preventive care. I mean, one of the first issues we ever did on my old show was called America Causes Cancer. That it's the toxicity, it's the environment. I said many times, I never had a Western doctor who ever...
Everyone, I think, do you notice this? That everyone's sort of on the internet all the time just going, I was right about that. I knew this longer than you. Well, look, I'm sure we all know stuff. I know stuff. I've got to say, I've got like Ron Wyden hand now. Look at that. I've got cramp from holding this mic stand. I've got my hands as limp as Ron Wyden's little Gollum wrists. I've got the Gollum wrists of Ron Wyden. No one knows anything. No one knows anything. Secretary Kennedy is at least a decent man, a broken man, a man in recovery, a follower of God, a man that is willing to put himself on the line. You don't need to be getting involved in this kind of stuff. I see so many people on the internet, I bet I do it some of the time, where all I'm saying is, yeah, I'm probably doing it. Like, I'm like, oh, I was telling you during the pandemic you can't trust people. I was telling people years ago that politicians are owned by commercial and corporate interests and you have to be fearful of globalism. But I realised that, what do I know? I don't know nothing. You can't really trust anyone, but you can trust God. And you can trust people that are willing to submit themselves to God. For me, that's the Christian God. But perhaps there are other ways to go. I'm only qualified to talk about my own testimony and my own journey. And what I can talk about when it comes to Secretary Kennedy is a man of principle. That's not to say that you'll agree with him on everything. I know a lot of you get real irate if someone is a supporter of Israel in the vaguest way, but obviously this issue around Israel would not have gone on for thousands of years if it was easy to understand and easy to resolve and weren't incredibly complex. So it's obviously going to require a lot of patience and compassion for all of us. What requires less contemplation and consideration is the poisoning of an entire nation in order to elicit and generate profit. Secretary Kennedy is confronting that, clearly to some degree hamstrung by institutional controls, but he's doing better than anybody in living memory, I would say. And if we can support someone with a character of that magnitude, perhaps we have an obligation to. But that's just what I think. Why don't you let me know what you think in the comments and chat? If you're watching us on YouTube, we're out of there, baby. Click the link in the description and join us over on Rumble, where our free speech and yours is protected. Increasingly, the arguments we have these days are about free speech. You might disagree with me, I might disagree with you. Let's have it out. Let's argue about it. Russell should know the voice of the Daleks, says Spy KZ. And that's why you join us on Rumble, because I read those comments. Click the link in the description, get on over here. Here's a quick message from one of our partners. In a minute, we'll be talking about Chinese imperialism, baby, and the great meeting between Xi and Putin. Alio Capital. Get it now. The world has become increasingly divided because of you. Politically, socially, and economically. But many of these divisions stem from a deeper misunderstanding of how money, markets, and policy actually work. Wouldn't it be nice? Wouldn't it be nice? If there was an investment app that was designed by people who understand a macro perspective and how global events affect your finances. And now you can have that power in the palm of your dick. Hand. That's hand, isn't it? Is that how I get confused? With the Alio Capital app, powered by Altitude AI, which identifies shifts in inflation, interest rates, and global risk, then adapts portfolios in real time. Alio is designed for hands-on or hands-off investors. Macro investing for people who want to understand the big picture. Investing is confusing. Get the Alio app to make it all simple. You want money, but why should you work for it like some stinking slave? Get the Alio app and watch the money flood in, baby. Download their app to help you make yourself a few bobbins. Why not? You deserve it. What you gonna do? Just wait for death? Go to the App Store or Google Play or text my name Russell to 511. That's ALLIO capital. Text RUSSELL to 511 511. Download the Alio app or text Russell to 511 511 today. Investing involves risks. Everything involves risks. Everything, isn't it? Life's risky. What are you going to do? Avoid risk? You'll pay a high price for that. That in itself is a risk. It's a paradox. You can't get out of it. Including the potential of loss of principal. What? My principles? I knew this would happen one day. Past performance does not guarantee your results. See terms and conditions. Tax fees may apply. This is a paid advertisement for Alio Capital, baby. In case you thought it was me reading Shakespeare, that was an ad. Hey, yeah, you better believe I fish. I caught me a Florida gar just the other day. Well, actually, my daughter caught it. I like a right. I had to do that, Secretary